Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've just basically skipped some machines and we defeated the Stormbird that are all gathering here around the destruction of Gaia Prime, the self-imposed destruction of Gaia to stop Hades doing his nasty work. But Hades got free just before this happened, so he is out there doing his work somehow, not at full capacity, but he's getting stronger, and he's got those who can help him get stronger. Calling him, let's personify him as Hades, that'll do. But we're up here to get the Master Override in order to defend against Hades. And this is the aftermath of the explosion at Gaia Prime.
Gaia's sacrifice. It did this. Cracked the inside of the mountain like it was an egg.
Yes, yes. Quickly now. I've prepared the way ahead for you.
So you've been in here before?
To a point. You'll see.
And yes, we'll hear all about Silence as well. Probably the meatiest chunk of information.
You made a climbing
about him.
path for me, but left an army of machines for me to deal with?
Since when were machines any obstacle for you? If you could fly, I wouldn't have bothered with the climbing path either.
That's a really interesting comment, a throwaway comment, maybe tongue-in-cheek, about why we can't fly in Horizon Zero Dawn. And I'm wondering if in Forbidden West they'll give that opportunity to be able to override glint hawks or things like that in order to move around. But I doubt it. There may be inside missions we can do it in a closed, but being able to fly all around the map, I think that would be quite difficult to pull off. It's like having machines that roam around the map and, you know, can get into villages and all sorts of things like that. It'd just be too messy. Okay, this is Simon's workshop.
This is exactly the kind of place I expected to find you in, Silence.
Thank you. It's one of many workshops I've constructed over the years. For years, I tried to get through this hatch. I drilled, I burned, I blasted. But we both know that you won't have any trouble getting through.
You make it sound like I should apologize.
Not at all. It never occurred to me that the way through would not be with force, but with a key. A key in human form. The failure of imagination was mine, not yours.
So, let's start here.
Looks like you've spent a lot of time here.
19 years ago, a great explosion destroyed this mountain. Gaia's death, your birth. The echo could be heard as far as the claim. Ash darkened the skies. How they fretted in Meridian as they tried to read this omen. The crater burned for weeks, but when it cooled, I was the first to behold what lay within. Over time, the machines closed ranks to protect it. Useful. Soon, no one dared to come here. Except me.
Yeah, it's interesting how he was first to react, because he's so invested intellectually in the goings-on and the ways of the old ones, that he saw this as a facility, it exploded, he wanted to know how it happened, and he got basically the run of the place because machines closed in and warded off any other interested party. So the like of the Ossaram, he just would delve in it to get nice shiny things. They were going to stay away.
In her message, Gaia said we could restore her, but after seeing the damage, how could that be?
She said any effort to repair her must come after Hades is destroyed. I concur. Rebuilding the terraforming system now might allow Hades to use it as a weapon. Because of Gaia's sacrifice, it has been forced to search for means that are less convenient.
But do you think it's even possible to restore Gaia?
You know what the cauldrons are capable of. How they fabricate any technology necessary to create a machine. By the same principle, it should be possible to replicate every technology necessary to repair Gaia. But that would take years. And we're counting the time we have left by the hour.
I thought you might actually be here this time. Actually, here.
Why? My presence is unnecessary. You don't need my help to pass through this door. You were the one born to do this, not me.
It's time for me to head in.
Yes. When you find the Master Override, you will gain the power to defeat Hades. Everything depends on you.
It always does, Silence. It always depends on us. Looks like we can just talk to him again.
Yes.
I need to get going.
So when we come out, we'll have lots of opportunity to learn more about Silence.
Genetic identity confirmed.
But we're like
Entry authorized.
basically his master key.
Dr. Sobek, you are clear to proceed.
We're like his master key to all these secrets. He won't and can't come with us, or he doesn't want to come with us, but he is seeing firsthand through the focus. And we're not too keen on that at times. Okay, this is rich with information and lore, so we'll just take it one step at a time. Gaia Prime arrival log.
Logging arrivals. Shan Margot.
Welcome to Frozen Hell. Population 10.
11 counting Gaia.
Don't count your chicken embryos before they're incubated, hon. She's still firing up. Be a while before you eat that omelet.
I'm vegan, Travis. You'd think we'd worked in the same secret base long enough for you to notice.
We weren't scheduled to shack up here for another 3 weeks. You realize I just lost 350 kilos of pre-code smut comics in transit.
Wait, actual physical media? Why didn't you have it digitized?
Can't beat the feel of physical media on your fingers. And in here, we ain't gonna be touching a whole lot else. Figured I was gonna pass the time archiving them. What about you?
Me? Work, I guess. My task queue stretches out for like 3 years. There's a lot of sharp edges to round off. After that, I hadn't really thought about it.
Oh, you will. You're what, 30? Reckon you'll be the one turning the lights off at the end. Food for thought, huh, vegan?
This sucks forever.
Nah, not forever. Just the rest of your life.
So they were going to hang here, do their work after everything had been shut up. So they were going to stay here. And Margot Shem was one of the youngest ones, so she had the opportunity to be the loneliest.
Mind your footing.
But yeah, Travis kind of needs to check himself a bit, because he's come across as a bit of a dirty old geezer, talking about his need to pleasure himself. But you know, Margot's a young woman. She's got needs. If you clean your act up and start being so weird and creepy, you might have a chance there, Travis, to I don't know, a slice of the real thing. Okay, so they brought Gaia Prime here. After it was finished, they waited to the last possible moment, and this is where they'd switch the AI on. It would be all protected here, and the Alpha Primes were going to stay here and continue their work, sort of the things to make sure it all went swimmingly, do any more coding that they needed to do. Margot said that she had 3 years more of work, and I'm wondering whether they were then going to go to Elysium. I can't remember what the scheme was there. Afterwards, whether they were going to go to Elysium, which is the place where all the promised land for all the people that helped out with Project Zero Dawn, to end their days in relative comfort. But it'd be a strange place, wouldn't it, Elysium? Incredibly strange place. You can imagine a place where you can't procreate, so there's no chance of perpetuating your species. All you can do is see out your time. There's no sort of future for you. You can't. There's very limited things you can achieve. All you can do is enjoy what's left. You know, it's just very peripheral enjoyments. Nothing of
Guess
import.
that's my way across.
Can't enjoy a family. Oh, goodness. You can bring your
It's
members of your
held
existing
like this
family
for
in.
19 years, right?
Well,
Don't answer.
Okay, so if you look at it, it's absolutely been blown apart. Parts of it was still intact though, 'cause it kind of shot
Well, that's
upwards.
over.
Okay, what do we got here? Oops, a days. No, we need to go up. Do we? It wants us to. But what is down here?
Not this way. Maybe further up the shaft.
Further up the shaft. Let's go further up the shaft. Is that the way we came in? Yes, it is. Right, let's have a little look around. Wow. Enormous facility.
This must have been where they lived. What's left of it. Once this was all enclosed by rock and metal.
Okay, so they're talking about this as being the quarters. So Margot Shen.
Record. I just woke up. I see the numbers, but can't make out the time. I was dreaming of... I was giving a lecture in Q Hall. Maybe it was something more shamanistic. I don't know. An audience of shadowy faces under a blank open sky. I told them the world ended with a bang. A plague of robots. But the last humans. We went out, not with a whimper, but a whisper. You know, in caves, ending like we started, huddled around a flickering glow. The heads of state, the Fortune 5s, the leaders and lottery winners and life cults, all of them buried in their little shelters. Some believing they'll live it out some way, somehow, or Elysium, or us here at Gaia Prime, no different. A multitude of tiny societies taking hold, flaring, dying. Some will be beautiful, some horrific, and none of them matter. Short-term civilizations. One last gasp before the long-held breath. Before I wake up, I know the audience is gone. I'm talking to myself, to a quiet planet, a barren sphere. Just Gaia and her long, long dreaming. I hope she won't be lonely.
She's been given these emotion protocols, hasn't she, Gaia? So that's rubbed off on the alphas personifying her. She has been personified, but the long-held breath. That's really poetic because that's what it is. Basically, it's a facility the Project Zero Dawn is a facility for humanity to hold its breath as long as it can until it's safe to re-emerge. Not linearly, but in a the genome to reanimate later on. So metaphorically, it's just one long held breath until we can get the codes to shut down the machines. Gaia can start her tricks and get the world terraformed again eventually, so that humanity can spew out and start again. And to some extent that has worked, but not to how they hoped it would, especially with one crucial omission, which we'll learn about why that was omitted in a moment.
Evacuation happened so fast. No time to think things through. No time for goodbyes. There were lines in the medical ward. I told Tom Paik I'd be with him when he went under. But there was one last shipment of Paradiseidae zygotes I could get processed if I rushed. I'm still angry at him for forcing me to choose. Angry at myself for... well, he died alone. And I didn't get the bloody birds of paradise saved either. All the time left in the world now to think. Gaia Prime's locks are sealed. Elysium sealed up, safe and sound. A distance of miles, but it might as well be on the other side of the galaxy. All the betas and gammas and support staff living their lives. If I hadn't been an alpha, if things had gone differently, I could have been there. Instead, I'm spending the rest of my unnatural life in here with people I don't even like. And without the one I would have gladly spent my life with. Given the chance. 2 hours since I signed off on the final executables, and I'm already a bitter old man bitching to his focus. There's a thought for future generations.
There's a lot to unpack in there, but Charles Ronson, one of the alphas, was responsible for collecting all the animal genomes and getting them all stored away and stowed away. Tom Paik, can't remember what he was involved with, but what he was intent on is doing his work to Project Zero Dawn, but he wasn't interested in Elysium. He just wanted to take the euthanasia, and he said that at the start of the project. And he was true to his word. He knew that he didn't want any part of this artificial world. He needed the air to breathe and the nature to get himself amongst. And Charles, obviously a good friend of Tom Paik, they wanted to be with him when he died, but he sacrificed his emotional connection in order to save a species of bird that he wasn't able to save anyway. And he talks about a special person in here that is no longer here. And that is a tragic but heroic story that we'll encounter in a moment. Just want to see if there's anything else that I missed within that. Where's the audio data points? Here we go. Margot Shen. Also, mentioning about them going to Elysium afterwards, that doesn't happen, does it? They're locked in here. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Elysium is not for them. This is their home. Just a handful of them here to make sure Gaia is ticking over for the rest of their natural life.
Elizabeth's room. I know it. She didn't even get a chance to unpack. These are her journals. Elizabeth's journals. And they're all destroyed?
Scan them. The Focus can rebuild them, but the process is slow. To us, it seems a powerful device, but its engine is tiny and limited.
How slow?
Days, weeks, years. Concern yourself with stopping Hades and extending the future, and you might live long enough to hear them.
It's interesting, we're not able to access those straight away. They are for later. It's these here, Sobek Journal, 64, 65, all through her time developing Project Zero Dawn. We'll get some more insight into her in those little text data points. Okay, onwards. Have I missed anything out here though?
Elizabeth. What is this?
So we've got a little memorial here. You'll notice Elizabeth's image there and lots of different sort of flowers beneath her. It's very sort of Tibetan looking, but she's memorialised here.
This is Charles Ronson. I'm logging this 6 hours after final deployment of Gaia Prime. This morning, an access port seal malfunctioned. Gaia Prime's port seals were designed to close with a seam of less than 2 millimeters. But this one closed with a 10 millimeter gap. Enough for an energy signature to bleed through. Enough for the swarm to detect this facility. Enough for Gaia to be discovered and destroyed. Enough to end the future we worked so hard to make possible. Unless the hatch servos were manually re-engaged from the outside. I'm now switching to a recording of the event.
Well, I'm not going out there. Not what I signed up for.
Either we sent someone out, or all of this was for nothing.
It should be Liz's decision.
So when is she going to get here?
She said 5 minutes. You don't think...
Oh no. Okay, everyone. I've repaired the seal. Gaia?
Seal closure at 1.4 millimeters. Confirmed.
Elizabeth, no. We'll find a way to bring you back in.
It's not gonna happen. The swarm's too close. Really. It's alright. Gaia's complete. She'll take care of things from here on out. That's what she does.
Not like this. There's so much we...
Guys, you know me. I'm no good at endings. At letting things end, so, let's not.
So, happy trails, Liz. And, see you around.
Yeah. Take care of each other, alright?
Liz.
I'm okay with this. I want to go home. Goodbye.
That was the last transmission of Elizabeth Sobek. She gave everything for the hope of life on this planet. And we are all in her debt.
So if you can imagine, they installed Gaia into her location. They set everything up. She was working. She was on. And then they were going to shut the door, but they couldn't shut the door without one of them being outside. She chose that because her work was over. The rest of the people could sort it out themselves, and she wanted to end her life on her own terms. And she could see, although she was in a suit, she could feel the warmth of the sun. She could see daylight. She could see flowers. She could see whatever green there was left. And she was going to take her walk home to end her life on her own terms. So we've got data points, we've got silence. Let's talk to this man first.
Aloy?
She's gone. Really gone.
You knew she couldn't have survived, Aloy, and her achievements were beyond exceptional.
While her people bickered, she was the one who took responsibility. The only one who could.
She was better than them.
That's not what I said.
She was. You shouldn't be afraid to admit it.
You just don't get it, Silence. You're annoying me now, mate. You're not being emotional. You're not understanding me.
Saying that shows you misunderstand her completely. To her, everyone had value. Everything was worth saving. She gave her life in service to that idea. Even after everything you've learned, you still don't get it. The simplest thing about her, and the most important.
No. She had a superior mind and a superior will. It wasn't about sentimentality.
You're wrong. Remember, she knew it wasn't enough for Gaia to think. She taught Gaia to feel. To care, to sacrifice, to believe in life. Enough to fight against hopelessness. If it wasn't for that sentimentality, life would have ended. You and I would never have existed.
Your argument is sound. I'm sorry for your loss.
She said she wanted to go home. Maybe.
What?
Nothing. It's time to go on.
I think Silence there was just checking himself. He didn't want to rile her up. He didn't want to argue the toss about leaving emotion and sentimentality at the door. It's all about noughts and it's all about black and white for Silence. But he realizes he's got a tool here that's very emotional, so he needs to make sure he at least understands her or makes her feel understood. Otherwise, she's going to get very annoyed with him.
You'd hate it, Liz, but I wrote you a eulogy. I had to try to express all your children. After all Apollo has taught them, they'll think they know everything. But they have to understand what you did for them. How you loved the whole world so much. With an intensity that was dazzling. Bruising. And in the end, it killed you. Or you died for it. Different perspectives. No one could keep up with you, live up to you. I don't know, maybe if I hadn't taken that postdoc in Joburg. I'm glad you shot down the Lightkeeper protocol in the end. I don't think I could have taken seeing another one of you. I mean, Elizabeth Sobek. There's only one. I miss you.
So the Lightkeeper protocol was a facility whereby they could keep their essence of themselves, upload their intelligence and their being as an AI, but it looks like Elizabeth shut it down. But obviously they kept the genomes of Elizabeth Sobek, and we are one of those. We're the only use case of it at the moment, because we are essentially Elizabeth Sobek.
Look, Liz, you're a pretty stand-up gal. I'm sorry you died. If you had a home to go to, I hope you got there first. But this monument Ronson's made to you? Kinda creepy if you ask me. Rest in peace, Liz. God knows you earned it.
So he's not one to get carried away with emotion, but this guy, old Charles, He had a thing for her, quite clearly, and he is devastated by her loss. Ted.
Hell, Liz. I know you're never going to hear this. That's not the point. You got to play the savior and the martyr all at once this time. Great work.
So that's all he's got to say there. Is that right? Or have I... Let's look at that again. So you've got to play the saviour and the martyr all at once this time. He likes old Elizabeth, but he's also jealous of the fact how she's holier than thou. He's made a lot of mistakes, and she has kept to her guns and sticks to her moral compass, which is a more stricter, direct, manageable compass than money, because money will take you into some very, very questionable areas, and it's harder to manage a moral lifestyle when you're using money as your guiding principle. Because he saw money in military machines, and there obviously was a shit ton of it, but Elizabeth was not interested in going down that road. She could have become far, far richer, but that wasn't her driver in the slightest. I don't imagine she was poor, but I think it's just a byproduct of being so clever and making
There's
her...
another section at the back of the crater. Looks like it survived the blast.
Because it was armored. You found the control room.
I'm on my way.
So when you do something of use that's useful to people and you solve problems, then as a byproduct, you get money. So there's a great sort of mindset that I'd love to be aligned to, which is just find a way to serve the world in creating something that solves a problem. Don't think about the money, just think about doing that, finding out all the information and the knowledge that you need to do that, all the skills, and just working towards doing that, and the money will follow without you even noticing. So there's a little bit about Ted here.
I've been taking a hard look at the project. In the end, it's simple. It's clean. It's clear. Erasure. Addition. By. Subtraction. I can make it better, Liz. With a single stroke. Make it all go away.
I really don't like the direction this is going.
Continue.
So he's saying the word addition by subtraction. He's doing some thinking, our Ted, which is dangerous. He's come up with an opinion, and he has the power to enact his opinion, regardless of the desires of others. Because what he's got in this game is he's got a stake, a large stake, because he's writing the checks. Doesn't matter if he got the world into trouble like this by his actions. He's got clout within this project still. I think they'd rather he didn't, but he has that power.
When I opened the hatch, the air rushed in from this side.
Because there was none inside the chamber.
But the alphas were in there.
So these are the bodies of the alphas. They all died in one room for some reason. And I know I've missed some data points on the way here. I really have, haven't I? If I open that door, we might be able to find them. But this is the all-important one.
I'm locked out of core control. Alpha clearance overridden. What the hell is Omega clearance? Oh no.
Alpha personnel. Sorry to alarm you, but I need you to listen, okay? To what I'm about to say. This isn't easy. See, please, stop trying to access the system, okay? See, what this is about is, I said stop trying to access the goddamn system. What I'm trying to say is, I can't stop thinking about the ones who come after us. Those innocents. Those blameless men and women. We're gonna give them knowledge? Like it's a gift?
Ted. We've talked about this before. Apollo has 3,000 plus fail-safe conditions.
It's not a gift, it's a disease. They're the cure, and we're gonna give them the disease. Our disease? No, we can't. And it's not too late. If we're willing to sacrifice.
Ted, it doesn't need to be like this.
It already is, Samina. I did it 3 minutes ago. I've purged Apollo. It's gone, all of it, every copy.
A sacrifice? It's not a sacrifice, it's cultural obliteration, you crazy bastard! Millennia of culture.
I'm sorry. Really, I am.
They're all crowding around
to protect innocence,
the Apollo Alpha.
Innocents have to die.
It's her gig.
Emergency alert. Venting atmosphere.
Look at them. Look at them. Look at you, Ted. You selfish fuck. Emergency recording. We all talk to silence, but what a bastard. What a complete bastard. So he's got his own little bunker somewhere with all his wank mags and things he needs for the rest of time. Don't know where that is. It's somewhere we can't get. But he's got access to the system, and what he's done is he's come up with a notion that he probably believes in the forefront of his mind, but it's coming from the back of his mind. Forefront of his mind, he's thinking humanity can't be trusted to not take this knowledge and go and fuck it up again, which is what he did. So he is blaming humanity as a concept here, that they can't take information and use it responsibly. Power and use it responsibly. So he has basically eradicated any knowledge of what happened in this world. So anyone that was born after a guy had let them out is not going to gain the knowledge of Apollo. And poor Samina Abaji here was shocked, and they all came rushing to her side because she'd spent so much time and effort, and it was just gone with a click of a button. But your man here, what he really did, he didn't want to live in infamy as a name synonymous with greed and power and fuckery, and he didn't want the people to come after to know the name Ted Farrow as being something other than what his ego would allow it to be. So the only way to do that was purge Apollo, kill the Alphas, eradicate any knowledge of how this happened. And then he could live out the rest of his days in his pants, safe in the knowledge that his legacy is, well, it's not intact, but it's obliterated, and all of his mistakes are obliterated as well. It's almost like it's purged and cleansed him of his sins in his own mind. Crazy fucker. So he's the real villain, isn't he? He is the real villain of the piece, Ted Farrow, and he represents greed. He represents progress, and the mistaken belief that that type of progress can help the world and help humanity, when what it only ever does is produce dollars and cents and attain material things, material wealth, and things that don't mean anything whatsoever. He's a dirty, horrible bastard, and he is the kind of poster boy for all the people that do that in real life, the billionaires and the shits in power.
He killed them all.
So this is why. This is why we were trapped in benighted ignorance for an innocent future. Blameless men. He never saw the slaughter in the Sun Ring. Everything these people achieved, all the knowledge of the old ones, evaporated, turned to dust, scattered to the void, like the Alphas themselves.
No. Not a void. When the hatch unsealed and scattered their ashes on the wind, it took them out among the world they made. The world we're living in. It's a monument to what they died trying to accomplish.
A monument to oblivion.
Not oblivion, silence. Hope.
Okay, we can get this master override. So Silence is just as angry because he had the opportunity. Apollo was the opportunity to learn.
Override. It's so small.
Now all you have to do is kill Hades with it.
Okay, and we can do that by strapping it to our spear. Okay, let's return to the workshop. Yeah, Silence is driving force. It's information, knowledge. Knowledge equals power. And he hung out at this place because he thought he might have a little speck of chance to find out more. But it was eradicated. This is just a graveyard for the Alphas, a graveyard for Gaia.
Is that good?
Try not to fall to your death. The master override doesn't override gravity.
Keep holding, keep holding.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether we missed a few. It's up here. Whether we missed a few data points there. I can remember one specific one where an alpha is talking about how he had to humour Ted Farrow in his sort of interactions. They spent a lot of time trying to shield Ted Farrow from the things they were doing by, smoke and mirrors to try and just keep him happy and out the way while they did the real work. It was a real joke to the Alphas, but they, under strict instructions from Elizabeth, to just keep him sweet, keep him happy. He is the check. As long as we can just get this money and all these favours he can pull in and all these facilities, as long as we can do that, we'll stay on track. But just for goodness sake, don't give him access to the secret source, otherwise he'll stick his nose in. And he did do a few times. He stuck his nose in giving Gaia an override switch, and he had access to all sorts of things, and the ability to become this Omega and
here.
do things without impunity.
For a moment.
What?
With impunity.
Our journey together has come to an end, Aloy. But before I go, I think I owe it to you to tell you the rest of the story.
Go on.
Some time ago, I admitted that I'd been involved with the eclipse. But I never told you the full extent of my culpability. The truth is, I was there at the beginning. I found Hades, Aloy, buried on that mountain, trapped in that shattered titan. And I served it.
What?
It promised knowledge and delivered. Such knowledge, you have no idea.
And in exchange?
I helped create the eclipse. Helped it build a cult, an army to do its will.
Why are you telling me this now?
Because your success depends on knowing this. When I found Hades, the first thing it wanted to know about was the Spire. Not Meridian. The Spire. Now why would that be?
The Spire was created by Gaia.
Which part of Gaia?
Minerva. It's code-breaking module. Gaia built spires to transmit the codes that deactivated the Pharaoh robots, shut down their biomatter conversion systems. Hades wants to send a new transmission. To wake the machines, so they can devour the world all over again.
Yes. Based on what we've learned, that's my conclusion as well.
So the Eclipse, the robots they've resurrected, they're just a means to an end. An army to capture the Spire.
Yes. So Hades can exterminate life all over again. Unless you stop it.
Tell me everything you know about Hades.
I want you to tell me everything. Hades, the Eclipse. Everything.
It's a long story, Aloy.
Then get started.
Get cracking.
It began
Silence.
with a focus. Recovered from an ancient ruin, as yours was so many years ago. In my case, the device was heavily damaged. There was just a flicker of life in it. I spent weeks studying it, attempting repairs, until finally, I succeeded. A whole new dimension of perception revealed, right before my eyes. That's when I detected it. A faint signal. Out there, something was searching, just like I was.
A real kindred spirit.
I followed the signal to its source. A shattered titan, buried in the jungles of the Jewel.
So you thought it was a Titan? An old war machine?
I didn't know what to think. I'd seen such wreckage before. The Grave Horde, for example. But this was different. This was not quite dead. It couldn't speak when I found it, until my repairs gave it a voice. So began an exchange of knowledge. It wanted to know everything about our world, its tribes and machines. But the Spire was always its foremost concern.
What did it want to know about the Spire?
Its precise location. The surrounding geography. Who controlled the land. Meanwhile, Hades revealed to me many of the intricacies of ancient technology. It bid me to recover and repair more focuses. Before long, I had a couple dozen up and running.
Enough to equip a small army.
The commanders of one, anyway. I didn't care. I was learning so much. Physics, calculus. You have no idea.
So Silence, he just seeks knowledge. He just laps it up, and it's amazing how how metal he is, because he's a tribes person. We don't quite know the exact origin of which tribe he came from, but he will just do anything to get knowledge. And he was making a trade with this machine that he managed to get online. He managed to bring it back to life, give it a voice. What does it want? Okay, you can have that, but you give me all this. Just feed me this stuff, this information. And the Eclipse was born, and the Eclipse had their own needs and desires that the Hades was going to feed to try and get what he wanted. So Silence was part of the problem, because he doesn't attach himself to any tribe or cause. Or his main cause, he doesn't care about anyone else but what he can fill his brain with. And the ruins and the history of the old ones just absolutely lifts his skirt, and he doesn't. Just anything else is just pales into insignificance. So he is gonna definitely do exactly what he's bid if he can get this heroin type information.
And the Shadow Karja? How did they become involved?
The Karja civil war was a happy coincidence. A perfect opportunity.
An opportunity? That's what it was to you?
Yes. Overnight, half the tribe was in exile, desperate to win back Holy Meridian. Their religion made them easy to manipulate. All I had to do was present Hades as the buried shadow of their mythology. So yes, it was an opportunity. I arranged for High Priest Bahavas to meet with Hades. Helis was there as well. And so the eclipse was born. Anything to win back Holy Meridian.
But Hades didn't care about Meridian. And neither did you.
We live in a world of fallen cities and vanished tribes. What were a few more? Besides, I was too busy setting up the cult's focus network to Hades' specifications. A thrilling technical challenge, especially with the alterations I included of my own design.
The ability for you to spy on them.
Yes. I may have been foolish enough to serve Hades, but I was never so foolish that I trusted it. I installed what the ancients used to call a back door in the network. Secret access, empowering me to monitor all activity and communications.
What made you turn on Hades? It certainly wasn't your conscience.
Actually, I was troubled the first time I saw the Eclipse raise an ancient war robot. With my technology. I questioned Hades about its intentions.
A little late.
Indeed. I'd already outlived my usefulness. When I completed work on the Focus Network, Hades summoned me to receive my reward. The next moment, I heard it broadcast my kill order. I've been a fugitive ever since.
So when did I come into this? Our path together?
When Olin stumbled on you. System threat detected. That got my attention. A kill order against a savage Nora girl? Why would Hades bother with that? But then I saw that this Nora girl was wearing a focus, and bore an uncanny resemblance to a great scientist of the old world. Helis moved quickly. I thought you were dead. But then I detected your focus, inside the Nora mountain. The more I observed you, the more convinced I became of your extraordinary nature. And usefulness. Through you, I could finally discover the secrets of the Earth. I vowed to do everything I could to ensure your success. The rest, as they used to say, is history.
So it's wonderful, this game. It presents things in data points where you have to read them, or you get verbally told to you through audio points, and like this was silence. But that is a very economical way of presenting a story. Quick, easy, cheap. I would have loved to have seen a few cutscenes for things like this, showing silence and how he was near the Nora tribe and how he hid and how he found out and where he was based and how he tracked her. I'd love to see a sort of montage and that side of things. Also, interesting about talking about getting the minds involved in Project Zero Dawn back in the day. The extraction teams that used to go into these either dangerous machine areas or areas that hadn't been touched yet, and just dragging these people into Project Zero Dawn against their will. The Gaia cast talked about that in the Gaia cast number 3. They talked about what an amazing action-filled adventure that would be, showing the extraction teams going into these areas of combat, machine and human combat, and trying to extract these very, very important people. But we don't see that, we just hear about it, and that's fine, because reading and understanding, you get an image of it yourself, which is all the more powerful. But it'd be nice to have a few cutscenes. Maybe there'd be a bit of budget for that in the next one, considering how well Horizon Zero Dawn did in the Moneybags department. Is there nothing he won't do for knowledge? That's what we think, isn't it? There is nothing he will not do for knowledge.
The things you've done in the pursuit of knowledge, Silence. Pure recklessness.
Aloy, this wasn't a confession to elicit your judgment.
Unbelievable.
I've done all I can. From here on out, the rest is up to you. Take my lance. Fit the master override to it, and you have a means of injection.
Then I just need to get close enough to Hades' skull to stab it in?
Exactly.
Oh, no problem. Silence! Where will you go?
Elsewhere. And everywhere. There's so much more to discover before the world ends.
And all this?
I leave it to you, of course. As it turned out, it was yours all along. I was merely trespassing.
So there he goes. That's the last we see of him for now. In this game, of course, the teaser trailers for the last game showed he's very much an important part of the next game. We will go back in there. We will get our master override switch attached to our spear. We'll also hear a few data points about Silence and him going through a few of reiterating the points that he just told us. But this is Gaia Prime, and we are one step closer to getting it back, eventually, online.